Welcome back to the Torque Test channel. We have a special episode for you guys today and a special delivery from another YouTube channel. Mancaver Tools cooked up something special over on that channel, essentially Milwaukee's highest rated M18 impact driver, the 2853-20, but with some minor surgery to swap out the 1/4 inch hex collar for a 1/2 inch anvil out of the 2855-20 compact impact wrench. And according to his video, the sum is greater than its parts. He used a 1 inch impact to tighten some bolts.
That's good. Go.
Which the Frankenstein driver took out quicker, and drove some extra long lag screws, with the driver again crushing it. That begs the question, and we have the equipment to answer that question, we think. Luckily for us, we also have a 2853-20 M18 impact driver of our own that we use, and this will be a double introduction for the channel. A new to everyone 1/2 inch anvil Frankenstein impact from Mancaver Tools, and the first impact driver on this channel. After seeing how these perform on a rig like ours, that's really just made for large impact wrenches, we'll definitely be doing more of these as we want to see how they play with the big dogs. So this is a bit of a triple head-to-head. We're going to be putting the M18 compact 1/2 inch impact wrench up against the Mancaver Tools Frankenstein, and then also versus the 2853-20 M18 driver to see how they all stack up. In order to do that, our 1/4 inch hex impact driver will need an adapter, so we bought a handful of these DeWalt 1/2 inch adapters because the word is they're the strongest and we'll be needing it for our tests. Obviously this attachment should lose some torque, just would make sense that it does, but we're curious to see just how much that is versus the Mancaver Tools creation. The length advantage when using it this way is obviously apparent, and speaking of that length, the Frankenstein measures almost the same as this stock impact driver at 4 5/8 long, whilst the M18 compact impact wrench measures 4.9, just about 5 inches, same as the M12 stubby. So if there is some real torque to be found out of this thing, there's definitely some new spots you'd be able to fit it into with this tool. When you're looking at specs, the impact wrench advertises 250 foot-pounds, and the drivers here we're testing today also advertise 2,000 inch-pounds, which is really just 167 foot-pounds. But the beauty of that is impact drivers don't live in a world with the phrase nut busting or bolt breakaway, so there's a better chance than ever that these torque figures are based on something real, other than the processes of impact wrenches, which, if anything, we've proven on this channel to be, let's say, optimistic. Although the M18 Compact on its episode actually performed very honestly. Another possible feather in the cordless drivers cap is the impacts per minute. The hex drivers bring 4,300 IPM compared to the wrench's 3,500 IPM. That can make a big difference when we're building tension on a time test like ours. So a big shout out to Mancaver Tools for letting us abuse this little guy. Shipped it to us himself. Head over there to the link in the description to see more info, testing, and see how he made this. Check it out. But let's get into it. Up first is the M18 Compact Impact Wrench, actually designed for this sort of thing. This is our first test of 3, called Forward Working Torque. And now we'll compare it against the M18 hex driver. This is right about when we knew things were going to get good. Both of these tools made the same torque in a 5-second test. The driver made this torque across a thin little adapter. Also, it made exactly 167 foot-pounds, or the 2,000 inch-pounds it advertised. Now our rig is calibrated for something completely different, an old school IR impact wrench, so that's likely just luck, but it's so spot on, it makes us wonder if they rate these tools based on a 5-second forward torque. And disclaimer, we have no idea. So let's put the MCT Frankenstein on here now and see if his video was just all fluff and no tough. Well, that's encouraging. Out of the gate, it made more power and holds that till the end, making a good 14-15% more torque. Not huge in the scheme of things when we're looking at the actual difference in foot-pounds figures, just almost 30 foot-pounds. But these next two tests with longer timers are really going to help highlight a power difference if there is one to be seen. This is our 10-second max torque test, which is in reverse. We're jumping right into the head-to-head between the driver and the impact wrench first. Again, almost an uncanny relationship between power here. The impact wrench actually reels it in, though, maybe due to hammer mass or loss from the adapter. We'll see up next with the MCT tool, and it doesn't have to deal with that adapter, so it'll be interesting to see. Okay, so now we're talking. This is 238 foot-pounds and 22% up on the others in this reverse test. I'll be honest, none of us were expecting to see that. It seems like the impact driver flatlined at 5 to 6 seconds, whereas this one just took off. Perhaps the adapter soaking up a lot there. This last test is our 15-second reverse best case scenario with the batteries fresh off the charger as usual. Here's the driver versus the wrench. Well, it's a good thing we bought 6 of these dual adapters. It's interesting to see how it broke at 106 foot-pounds. So it's not about constant tension torque. It's more about just how these are treated with impact blows. It's really interesting to see how the driver gets an early lead due to, we're assuming, impacts per minute. Then the wrench reels it in due to what we also assume to be internal hammer size and no loss from that adapter. It's important to understand with our graphs, like on the Makita episode, that just because one tool gets an advantage at 10, 11, 12 seconds does not mean it takes that 10 to 12 seconds to experience an advantage in the real world. Remember, we're building tension over time. We're starting at 0, whereas the bolt that you're seeing already starts out that high tension. If an impact on this channel is higher on the graph at, let's say, 230 foot-pound mark, then it's likely going to remove things at that tightness, however that compares to this rig, quicker than the other tool if it's shown higher on the graph. That said, let's get into the custom man caver tool. This is the last shot for it to cement its seat at the top among these tools. So that looks like a win to us. There's parts of this graph where the MCT tool is 50 foot-pounds up on the M18 compact, and they end up roughly in the same place. This pokes the elephant in the room that we've been ignoring up until now. If Mancaver Tools can make this, then Milwaukee can make this too, right? I mean, what we've seen here is honestly a stomping. It beat out both the M18 Fuel's impact driver and the M18 Fuel compact impact wrench. Yeah, it's shorter than that compact impact wrench and made more power overall. If this can remove some caliper bolts and other hard-to-reach stuff that the current impact can move, then why can't Milwaukee just start drilling bigger holes in the nose cover and slapping some of the parts bin together to make one of these themselves? Surely the dynamic torque of this tool is lower, like that's force per blow, which certainly plays a part in defeating rust, we assume, but if you're relying on an impact this size to be the solution on a rust pile that rolls into the shop, you are already SOL anyways. So Milwaukee, make this tool. Until then, Mancaver Tools, keep doing your thing. And thanks again for letting us measure its power with no strings attached and affording us the option to call BS on you, which we didn't need to do here. And thank you guys for watching.